Hello and welcome everybody to Have a Chat. We're so pleased to be with you all across the province. We're in Miramichi at the Rogers Studio. My name is Judy Loge. I'm your co-host for today's show, joined by my partner in crime, Veronique Arsenault.
So glad to be here on Monday again, Judy, together.
You must be sick of looking at me by now, Veronique, because we're spending a heck of a lot of time together lately.
I know, it's wonderful, and you know what, what an experience the last little bit. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, but what an experience, and I'm just loving it.
Okay, we love having you join us. We always have great guests, which we do again today, but first of all, if you would, please start us off with the quote that you so kindly have brought.
Yeah, so it's Mother's Day coming up on the weekend, and you know, we love our moms particularly, and we know so many people out there have wonderful mothers, but you know, it can be a tough day too for a lot of people. You know, those who aren't mothers and or who have lost. So anyway, it's all about that.
No, it's the truth.
So thinking of you, mothers who have lost children, those who have lost mothers, those with strained mother relationships, mothers with strained child relationships, those who have chosen not to be mothers, and those yearning to be mothers. And it's something that, you know, when I think about that, and I think about, you know, myself, I don't have kids, but, you know, there's a lot of relationships in my life where I've worked really hard to try and be a good role model and try to make those connections. And, you know, I might not be a mother in the strictest sense of the word, but, you know, I've tried to share my life and what little wisdom I might have with those in my life too.
And you have, including my own boys.
Yes, I love your boys.
They look up to you like a mother figure too.
Yeah.
And I really want to say that I guess I pride myself in having tried my very best to be a good mother.
Yes,
I mean, there are probably better mothers, you know, listening today. But what I'm saying is that my children are my world. They are the greatest gift I have, and so
and they are dearly loved, and that is very evident.
Yes, they're dearly loved, and they feel that, and there's that strong connection that I think that we have. Particularly me with my boys.
Yeah.
They seem to protect me and look out for me, and
Absolutely.
They call to say I love you more than I, you know, would ever expect them to. And on that note, Veronique, I was talking to Darlene Summers, who runs the group for those who have lost children, and that's a huge day for those mothers who have, as you know, lean towards in your quote, to get through that. And so I shared this with her this morning. And it was about bereaved mothers, that the day is not meant to pity a mother whose child has passed. This day is one of great honoring. This day recognizes the way a mother is sometimes happy and sometimes very sad, but always balancing both.
Right, yeah.
That's so true. They have the memories that they have the memories that make them happy, and the memories that make them cry.
Absolutely, and it must be, I can't even imagine what Mother's Day is like for those who have lost children. And you know, but we're thinking of everybody.
We are.
Yeah.
And to my own mother, who I dearly love and adore, who's probably watching this show, I just want to say that you are my heroine.
Yes.
You have been my role model since I was brought into your arms as a little girl, and have been there not just for myself, but for my siblings and my dad and so many of us. And as you taught school for 35 years, English. You've left an impact on so many students out there, Mom, and you've certainly made a huge impact in my life. You are a beautiful soul, the kindest person, and the most generous heart. And I'm wishing you the most wonderful Mother's Day this weekend. I love you.
She is an amazing, amazing woman. I love Leona too. And you know, to my own mama, we've talked about it a lot. You know, our journey, Jackie's journey, as I'm now calling it, through Alzheimer's, and Mom has moved into, you know, advanced stage Alzheimer's now, and she is still absolutely my best friend and such a source of, you know, entertainment, and she still is that genuine, incredible, caring human being, and she still shows it to me every day, and she's an incredible role model, and you know, Mama, I love you too. And you know, to the people in my life that didn't have kids, you know, I think of teachers and, you know, Dolores Steinen, who I've known my, you know, entire life. Yes. She didn't have children, but she taught grade 2 her entire career.
Right.
And she was, you know, a mother to a lot of those kids who, you know, didn't have maybe a mother figure in their home or whatever it may be. So there's so many different kinds of ways to mother.
Exactly.
And we honor that.
Even our fur babies.
I know.
They're our babies.
I do love them.
We love them. Treat them like our kids.
What do you think, what good traits do you think you got from your mom?
My mom?
Yeah.
I know I got her sense of humor.
Absolutely.
I mean, you would think that she was very, what's the word I'm looking for, in place all the time, and she is. She's such a lady.
Yes.
But when she says something and just has no filter, which is not swearing, I don't mean that, but just out with something. Jennifer, when she's visiting, we just burst right out laughing. I mean, and I think, and I hope that I'm as giving as my mother.
No
She
question.
always puts others ahead.
Yeah.
And she's always, I said, Mom, why don't you do that for yourself? Well, no, they need it more, or I want to do it for them. Yeah. Forever giving gifts. And I do the same thing. So when we're choosing a card, it's not just here's a card I found in the first place. I saw one, I pour over them until I find the appropriate one. Mm-hmm. So I do believe I have her good heart, and I hope I have her sensibility and common sense. There's nothing my mother and I cannot talk about. That's big in this day and age, Veronique.
Absolutely.
To be able to have your mother, a senior, be able to listen as you openly discuss and get her opinion on something, and she's so honest. And yet there's things that you might say, I shouldn't tell it to my mother, but I do. Yeah. And she's accepting.
Well, and I find, and knowing your mother for, most of my life as well, I find, you also really got that genuine connection from her. Like when you talk to people, you are genuinely interested in what they're saying and what's going on in their life. And she is very much the same. Every time I see her, she's so there and present, and I love that, and that's something you definitely got from her.
Well, that's nice, and you have so many traits from your mom. I could name them off, but what do you feel that you were blessed with?
I think it's that sense of wanting to be part of community, and Mom, no matter where we were, when we were, it didn't matter. She always wanted me to understand that giving of my time was so important to those around me, and Mom volunteered her whole life, and even didn't matter where we were. We moved around a lot because Dad was military, and it didn't matter where we were. Mom always found a way to genuinely give back, and Mom taught kids with disabilities for her entire career, and appreciating those small moments. I hope I got that from her as well, because she's incredible.
She is.
Yeah, she's
I love
incredible.
her to bits.
Yeah.
We're going to get emotional here talking about them. So blessings to both of our dear, wonderful mothers. I had a very exciting weekend in Fredericton.
You did.
And I know I touched on it at the last show to say I was going to be attending it, but I did get to go to the Delta in Fredericton on Saturday night with my husband and my sister and other family members to celebrate my brother, Bruce, my only brother, who received, he was inducted into the Sports Wall of Fame for Fredericton. After 34 years of writing as a sports writer and an editor for the Daily Gleaner. He was honored with his former colleague, Bill Hunt, who's an incredible human being. Yes. Their speeches brought me to tears. Bruce, first and foremost, mentioned my family and my mother and father, and how they were so much a part of him becoming who he is today, a wonderful, devoted to his family, to his job type of guy. And there were so many other people, I won't list them all, but it was just such a moving night. I will just say that the Fredericton Royals, all of those young men who have played against our Ironmen and beat them a few times. They were all there, and Jody Peterson was there on behalf of them. Jody's a well-known figure in the Fredericton area, and his little boy joined him, and his little boy is too cute. His name's Ty. He's a AAA player himself. So there were youth there. There was a 400-person capacity in that room. The meal was tremendous. Everything was beautiful about it, and congrats to my brother Bruce, Bill Hunt, and all of the other inductees on such a huge achievement.
Wonderful. Yes, absolutely. Congratulations to Bruce. What an honor, but what a well-served career on Bruce's part. My goodness, you know, the work he's done over the years and the stories he's featured, and you know, the connections he's made.
Well, that's it. I think he touched everybody in that room that were sports figures, because he either interviewed them as an athlete or their child as an athlete and whatever. So yeah, it was a very beautiful night.
Love it.
Now, just before that, you and I, a few days before that, had emceed the Pink Dress Society fundraiser fashion show, which was held at Brandon on the Boulevard. Jennifer Edwards did an amazing job putting that together. Wow. And here we were at the fashion show because we committed to it and we loved doing it. But the Timberwolves playoff game was that night against PEI.
Game 6.
So we were like, and here's the next fashion. What's the score? Here's the next lady. What's the score? No, but we kept them informed, and you couldn't finish the story.
They did win. In the last few minutes of the third period, it was absolutely incredible to watch the videos and to see the excitement, to feel the excitement across the city. So they are now heading to the Centennial Cup. So for the first time in the franchise's 24-year history, they won the Maritime Junior Hockey League's, the Maritime Hockey League, Cup, which is amazing.
I know.
And so now they're headed to the Centennial Cup. So for 51 years, the Centennial Cup's been happening. So it's the Junior A teams from across the country, and they'll be playing in Oakville starting next week, or this week actually, on the 9th to the 19th.
Ooh, they don't have much downtime.
No.
But they are amazing, and they've been playing amazing, and we wish them all the best, and we're so, so proud of our team.
Yeah.
Go Timberwolves, go.
I know. So exciting.
And we have something, as we've been chippering about, coming up, and we're chipping away at it, I guess is a word, and it's our own play.
Yes.
And Veronique has a ticket, which I'm so pleased to be part of that whole package with these wonderful girls. It's coming up on Saturday, May 11th.
I don't know how we ended up here, how it's already happening, but you know what? We're so excited. And I really want to emphasize this. All proceeds, every dollar we raise this night is going to mental health and addictions suicide prevention committee here in Miramichi to help put on their programs and support here in the community. So so Saturday.
I love it. And Love, Loss, and What I Wore. And again, Saturday, May 11th. It's at 128 Henderson Street, which is at Jameson Hill Memorial High School. Doors open at 6:30. The show begins at 7. Tickets are $20 each, as we said, partially, to go help us out. But all of it goes back to the mental health and addictions in Miramichi. And in partnership with Corcoran Entertainment. We're having so much fun with this, guys. Tales of us sharing stories about clothing and losses and love and broken relationships, and you're really funny. Veronique's very funny in this play. You have to come see her.
Well, you know what? It's so interesting because we've seen you on the stage and you're phenomenal, and I always love to see you when you are acting. And some of us have never been on the stage. Some of us have been on the stage once or twice, of course. But it's such an interesting show because I guarantee that you in the audience will connect with some or all of it.
Yes.
Now there are a couple of curse words in it.
There are some swear words in it.
Yeah, and a couple of
personal scenes or
some really deep material that we say, I guess, more mature material in it. Some subjects that are perhaps difficult to discuss at times, but you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll connect. And I truly hope that everyone that comes enjoys it, but we just want to make sure that everybody knows that there are a couple of swear words in it, so not a lot, but just a few pop up here and there, so don't be too shocked.
But it's a comfortable theater. It's it's going to be, like I said, Veronique saying that a couple of them have never acted before, but you would not know that.
No, you'd never know.
You're natural.
I'm absolutely amazed with how all of us have come together and we've each embraced each of our roles. And it's just, I'm just in awe, to be honest with you, of each one of the ladies that are going to be on stage that night, because for some of them, they've never done this before, and some of them have been in it, done other productions, but we've all come together and we've learned from, Judy and Rachel, who have done so many productions, and you've both been so kind to us, and Frankie, our poor director,
yes.
I don't know
we
how
love
that's,
you, Frankie.
I don't know how he's managing to get through all of us, but just so excited for all of this.
So it's coming right up, and be there. Veronique, speaking of women and exciting things, let's talk about the Hurricanes, because I was in Fredericton, but you got to that game.
Yes. Oh, it was their first home game yesterday, so the home opener on Sunday.
Hurricanes.
Hurricanes. So we did have Whitney Henderson and Jason Harris on the show a couple weeks ago. It was incredible. They came out with a win, 77-70 over Fredericton. Fantastic game, incredible atmosphere. The gym was packed. Cars parked down the street at MV.
Good.
And so just incredible. The organizers, the volunteers, the team, everything came together. The community, it was magical.
And that's what we hope for and encourage, because this is new to our area.
Absolutely.
And we have some locals playing on that team, don't we?
We do. And it was just so wonderful to see the players interacting with some of our youth, and we saw the Special Olympics play at halftime, and it was a great afternoon.
Absolutely beautiful. So Veronique, do you have, getting back to the weekend coming up and after our play, I know one thing, I was going to ask you about Mother's Day, what your plans are, but we do have our fundraiser for Percy's Place Hospice coming up, which is a 50-50 draw. We're going to be around the $10,000 prize win again. And of course that goes into our home and helping those within the, the palliative patients within that home, and we cater to them with free meals and free care. So all of that it's great, it's a win-win. So partially it goes back into Percy's Place, and then somebody gets to, hopefully, we're getting there, a $10,000 prize on Mother's Day.
Right, and so March 17th, the last draw, the winner did go home with $10,000, which was absolutely incredible. And it's Palliative Care Week, National
it is.
Palliative Care Week, so just incredible to see the work that's being done, and but those that fundraising is so important to continue that work as well. So, and you know what? Who doesn't want to win $10,000 on Mother's Day?
Lovely. We'll be drawing that. We'll give more details on social media. But there was another fundraiser coming up too. Don't you have one besides that coming up? Is there one more? We're going to talk about it with our guests for sure. Maybe
absolutely.
We should probably just save. We were going to give a little hint, but maybe we won't. We'll just save that.
But it's also nurses nursing care week this week as well. So huge shout out to our healthcare professionals. It's absolutely amazing what you do each and every day. I don't know how you do it, to be honest with you. It's an incredible calling. There's no doubt.
Is.
So a huge thank you from us. For both Nursing Care Week and Palliative Care Week, both.
I know.
Amazing.
And so we should show appreciation if you have a person in your life. Just say it's an LPN or somebody in the healthcare profession. Do something nice for them. Bring them a coffee and a donut, or do something like that. So anyway, wish everybody a success in celebrating their week, and we're going to cut to break, but do not go too far. We will be right back with more Have a Chat, so stay tuned. Hello and welcome back for more Have a Chat. Thank you for tuning in to us. We're at the lovely Rogers Station in Miramichi, New Brunswick. I am your host for today's show, Judy Loche, and I'm always excited and happy to be with Veronique Arsenault. We take turns, of course, hosting, so she's with me today.
Yeah, so glad to be here, of course, on a Monday.
A big show, lots of special things happened, as we just talked about, coming up, so keep your calendars marked for those dates we talked about. We have two first-time guests on our show now that we were going to save for a bit later, but there's too much going on. We wanted to get them on today. Yeah. So welcome Chris Matheson. I know Chris personally. He's a teacher at Miramichi Valley High School, also a theater director, and this lovely Bridget Perry, who is a student at Miramichi Valley High and an actor, right? Big time, baby.
Yes.
So first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who would like to go first? A few personal things so the viewers can get to know you. All right, Bridget.
Bridget's like, dang it.
You're up.
I'm a grade 11 student at MVHS, and I've been doing theater since I was in grade 4. I have a younger brother and a younger sister and a dog, and yeah.
And your dog is also an actor.
Yes, he made a small appearance in The Wizard of Oz. Yes, he did play Toto.
Couldn't take my eyes off him. I told you I was really intrigued with the beautiful production, but that dog was just like, give me that dog. And you've always lived in Miramichi, Bridget?
Yes, I have. I have always lived in Miramichi. My mom's from Renews, and my dad's from Riverview.
Oh my gosh, my dad's from Renews, so they might even know each other.
That's right.
And you, for anyone who might not know you, Chris, tell us a few things about who you are.
Chris Matheson. I'm a history and theater teacher at Miramichi Valley High School, born and raised in Miramichi. My parents are Joe and Pearl Matheson. I direct plays at the school, run the drama club. I also look after CM Productions, so I do productions with some of my alumni in the community. I've done stuff with Beaubears Island. I've done stuff with the Headless Nun Tour. I do a lot of theater, and when I'm not doing theater, I guess I'm teaching. So
Have you always taught at Miramichi Valley High?
I have for
Always?
24 years. Yes,
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yep.
You're a real staple there now.
I am. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a senior member of the staff.
Even though you're young.
Grizzled senior member. Of the staff.
Yeah. Right.
It doesn't feel like, you know, I know for my own self, I'm like, I'm not a senior person anywhere. I'm still young in my mind.
Yes.
I don't feel any different now than I did 24 years ago.
Beautiful.
Except for the kidney stones and the artery and anyway, whatever it is.
I know. I totally get it.
Yeah, the creaks.
And it takes a little longer to get moving when you stand up.
True.
Chris, tell us, at what point did you become interested in theater and the aspects of it and all that?
Well, there's a cute little story, and then there's kind of the real part. But anyway, I think it goes back when I was little, like 5 years old. My grandparents, my father's parents here in town, my grandfather had this basement that he just had junk in. It was full of everything. And my cousins and I, if we were there for the day, because they always wanted to look after us if my parents were working, we'd go down there and we'd basically put on our own little shows. And if it was like we were there all day because it was somebody's birthday, my grandparents, then we'd make all the adults come down and they'd have to watch it. And I guess that was kind of the start. I didn't make any money off that. It wasn't a career. And then if you move ahead to when I started teaching at Miramichi Valley, Jane Donaldson Bowes used to run the drama program. She was there at that time. And she came to me one day and she said, I need an extra chaperone for Drama Fest and I'll pay your 2 days' wages if you come. And I went and I kind of experienced it and I thought, hey, this is kind of fun. It's interesting to see the kids do this kind of stuff. And I kind of got involved that way and eventually sort of took on the program and took over the program and here I am. So
Are you ever involved? I mean, my gosh, the things this man has done, aside from teaching, you've given your heart and soul, and I want to commend you on the work you've done in the theater department and the productions you put out, which I try to get to all the time. And Bridget, the acting bug, when did you get bit again? Grade 4?
Yes, it was in grade 4, and I did drama in grade 4 and 5, and then in grade 6 I got to go to Drama Fest for the first time, and that was an amazing experience. And then COVID kind of cut into my experience a little bit. In grade 7 and 8, we couldn't really do much.
Right.
But then I joined back in grade 9 when I went to MV, and I guess the rest is kind of history.
I've watched you. You're really good. She's really good. I'm sure you might have seen her, but I can attest to the fact.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome. I'm so envious of those of you that have that gift.
Oh, you do too. Come on.
No, but I have the memory of a gerbil is the problem that I have.
But you can act.
I have the memory of a gerbil. I cannot memorize lines. I've tried. It just doesn't work in my world, but that's okay. Chris, tell us a bit about some of the many productions that you've directed over the years, including some of the musicals. I love to go watch them. I find it fascinating that people can get up and sing when I have no gift there. I sing a lot and I shouldn't ever, but I love that. So tell us a bit about some of those.
Well, I lost count, but it's somewhere over 80 productions.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't like to say that because I don't want to sound like bragging, but I am proud of what I've done.
You should be.
But my favorite playwright's always been Neil Simon. So a lot of my greatest successes have been with works that he has done.
Yeah.
He writes characters really well, and the comedy's very sophisticated and very precise. So I've always appreciated him. So I've done a lot of his work, both with students in drama, and then CM Productions is all about bringing my alumni back and getting to selfishly getting to keep working with them. So I've done a lot with that. And with musicals, what have I done? 5 or 6
many.
now. We did Sound of Music. We did Mary Poppins, Wizard of Oz, Cinderella. The first one we did was Anything Goes, which not everyone's familiar with. That's a really nice Cole Porter music set in the 1930s on a cruise ship. Really fun show. But they're all, every show, especially when you're doing it, it's special. When you're living in the moment, that's the show, right? And so I've had great experiences with everything I've done. It all has to do with the people. Creating that world with those people, putting on that show is something people don't realize. If you're out there and you've never done theater, you don't realize what it is and the drug that it is when you're doing it, the feeling that it gives you. Yeah. And so working with the kids, and then like I say, being able to keep working with them after they graduated and come home and now they live in the community maybe, or they're just home for the summer. It's just so, every show is special, but I wasn't a big musical guy, and then I kind of get into musicals. And Liz Walker, I have to mention her because she's my music director. I couldn't do it without her.
Fabulous.
And the team that we are is a fantastic team. We've put on some really great musical productions with some wonderfully talented kids. And
you do so much more. Like you do lights. You do the directing.
Yes.
You do. I'm sure you have all the say, basically in the set.
I don't do the costumes. That's
no,
the only
but the
thing.
set.
Yeah, I do the sets.
And that's a lot of work alone.
Well, and I think you know, and we talk a lot about this when we talk about volunteering, but I don't think people realize how much work before goes into getting ready, and like not just like rehearsing, absolutely, but everything else that happens before you get to the rehearsing even.
Absolutely.
There's an incredible amount of work that goes into each and every production. It's I don't
Admire you guys, for sure. Great job. Now I've seen you in different characters, but I have to ask you personally, what is your favorite type of character to play? Because you've been in so many on stage, but I always have my favorite roles.
I definitely like playing a comedic character. I like making people laugh. So the Scarecrow, I played the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz.
So good.
Earlier this year, and that was definitely one of my favorite roles that I've ever played.
Yeah.
And the role that I'm playing now in the play that we're taking to Drama Fest and the Fringe Festival, she's very, very different from that. She's cold-hearted. She's very cruel. And I'm actually having a lot of fun with that, which I didn't think that I would like it as much as I am, but I absolutely love her as a character.
You're so truly acting. When it's not your personality, you're a nice girl, you get to play this mean, nasty girl, it takes on a life of its own. It's like, oh, I get to do this, what I've always really wanted to do.
It's kind of hard, though, because I have to yell at my friends. I have to like be rude. I have to diminish them. I have to... It's
good acting, though.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love it.
Love
I
it
can't wait to see it.
No, it's so fun to change up roles too, from the sweet, innocent girl to the real nasty. It's just, that's what makes it so much fun.
Absolutely. So, Bridget touched on the Fringe Festival, but tell us, you're about to bring a group of students to Scotland for the Fringe Festival.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
The Edinburgh Festival Fringe, because that's the way you're supposed to say it, is the world's largest performing arts festival.
How cool is that? You're going and you're going.
Yeah, and it's held in Edinburgh, Scotland every year, the first 3 weeks of August.
Okay.
And basically there's a high school component to that that's run through an organization called the American High School Theatre Festival. And they've been trying to get Canadian schools more involved because they really aren't. And it's kind of, I don't want to say elite, because that makes us sound too important. But you have to be nominated by somebody who's previously attended the festival in order to be considered to attend the festival.
Oh my.
So a friend of mine, Michael McCardle, who's a retired teacher from Moncton High School, ran their drama program for 30 some years. He went 3 times and he nominated me.
How nice.
And he kind of championed us, and it was a little late, and they kind of called us, and I didn't have to do the interview and all the process. They said, we're holding a spot for you.
Oh wow.
So we're the only school in Canada that's going.
So who's going?
Goodness.
You're going. You're taking how many
So
students with you?
I have 7 students, and they're the 7 students who are doing the play that we're taking. It's the same play we're taking to the Drama Festival this week. It'll be a slightly longer version than what we're taking to Drama Fest, but it's the same show. That way we'll get some feedback, and it'll be ready. And I don't have to run around all summer worrying about getting it ready. So yeah, and actually Michael wrote the play, as well as nominating us. He wrote the play.
Oh neat.
So he wrote the play, the Titanic play we did for Drama Fest last year that you saw. So he wrote it, and he designed the costumes for us as well. So
We could go be luggage. We could go be luggage
I would
girls.
be okay with that.
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called
Misfortunes.
Misfortunes.
Yes.
Now, you also get to stay not just for, a week. You're there for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So what does that entail? What do you get to do the whole time you're there?
2 days in London to start, and then we're off to Edinburgh for the rest of the time.
Lucky.
In London, we're just going to tour around and see things. We'll probably get a chance to do a workshop at the National Theatre, tour, Buckingham Palace, that type of thing.
The good stuff,
The good stuff, exactly. And then they'll bus us to Edinburgh. When we're there, we have tech rehearsal time. We have our theater, everything's assigned. We have time slots. We have to perform the show 4 times when we're there.
4 times?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're so good with the last one, you won't even believe how good it is.
Yeah.
So
But it's open to the public. Like anybody in the world who's at the Fringe could decide to come to this show. Like we have no idea who might be there.
you attend all
And
the other ones that you wish to go to.
Yes.
You pick and choose to the
Yes,
ones your group would
exactly.
like to see.
Yeah.
I think it's just fantastic. So how are you feeling about this? Have you traveled abroad before, Bridget?
I have, but never to Scotland or England. I went on the Europe trip last year with the school, and that was very, very fun. My first time going to Europe. But no, I'm very, very, very excited about this.
You should be very, very excited.
It's an amazing experience. It'll be really fun.
And with people you know, and that you're
Yes,
comfortable with traveling. It's different when you say, okay, there's a kid going from Moncton, one from Nova Scotia. It's like your own group with this lovely gentleman who's going to oversee everything and has been there before.
Yes.
So you have the best person in the world to be taking you
And most of these other students that are going, I've been working with since grade 9. Like there's 2 or 3 of us that I've known since grade 9, and we've kind of rebuilt the drama club together because of COVID. It kind of ruined everything. And then, and then everyone else who wasn't a part of that, like original 3, they kind of joined in and just fit right in.
Perfect. I'm admiring your sweatshirt, your hoodie. Your hoodie is absolutely gorgeously designed. And so Edinburgh Fringe 2024 MV, you have everything on there, the drama, the masks, the gorgeous colors. So you all get to wear one of those and have them on your trip?
Yeah, we have T-shirts too with the same design.
I really, really like that.
Now, this doesn't happen easily, and you need some support from the community for sure. So tell us about the very critical and amazing fundraiser that's coming up.
Well, we've been fundraising since last June, but Susan Butler, I have to mention Susan Butler.
Yes, she's fantastic.
We love Susan.
There's nobody knows anything more about fundraising than Susan Butler.
Yes, no question.
And she approached me back in February. Actually, it was before Christmas. She said, after Christmas, we're going to get together. I want to do a fundraiser with you to help raise some funds for the trip.
Wonderful.
And she's always been a huge supporter for our drama club and anything I do. So I appreciate that. And we have a big fundraiser coming up on the 18th
Get your
of this
pens,
month.
folks. Mark this date down.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
At the 18th at the Kin Center downtown here in Miramichi, Newcastle, from 12 to 6. I've got all the details written here because I don't want to forget anything. Because Susan will not be happy with me if I leave anything out.
And we don't want that.
And Veronique and I'm going to be there.
I
have that date free, so I'm going to be there.
So it's quite a day actually. It's from 12 to 6. There's an indoor barbecue, so if you're hungry, there's a bake sale. So by the way, if anybody out there wants to donate homemade baked goods to the bake sale to help us out, that would be great. You can actually contact Susan Butler at 622-1780.
Nobody makes fudge like Susan.
Oh, I know.
I believe she'll have fudge there for sure. We also have tickets we're selling on a painting, Edie Zabo.
She's fantastic.
She's donated a lot of paintings to Susan's events. It's called Autumn Waterfall.
Oh,
it's really nice. I would
beautiful.
if I didn't feel like I shouldn't buy a ticket, I'd want it on my wall. But anyway, but it's a beautiful painting, so they're selling tickets on that. $5 each, 3 for $10. So if you want to buy them in advance, you can contact Susan and get them even before that. We're going to have live entertainment from 2 to 6. Villagers, Miramichi Fiddlers, Susan Butler, Wade Hallahan, Kate and Melissa Berry, and more. So that's a full afternoon.
Oh my goodness.
Selling 50-50 tickets. There'll be 2 50-50 draws that day. And we'll be taking donations at the door. If anybody wants to just donate at the door, they can do that as well. So it's a jam-packed day where you can come out, and if you say, hey, I want to support those guys and I haven't found a way to do it yet, maybe this is your day to.
It's huge. I mean, the support required is huge. 2 weeks and the hotels and the everything that everything your food, all of it.
Well, flights right now are a bit outrageous.
I know.
Yeah.
But what are you've been there before, most looking forward to, Chris, having been?
I am looking I went last summer on the orientation tour of the directors, so I did everything I need to do. I really, and this is why I work with kids, but I look forward to seeing it through their eyes. The joy I get from the joy they get is, again, if you don't do what I do for a living, you don't get that. But it's just the joy I get from them living it and experiencing it with them is unlike anything else.
I understand that, because I find that, like Irish Fest, right? Like when you see everybody having a great time and enjoying themselves and connecting with people that they haven't seen in years, and many generations are all in the same spot, and you're like, oh, I got to be a part of this, you know, and I got to see it through their enjoyment. So I understand a bit of how you feel about that.
Well, I said so many times, I do something and say, oh, the kids are going to love this. Or Bridget's going to get lost here, or something. I don't know.
Oh no, do you get lost?
I made that part up.
No.
Bridget's going to flip her bicycle here.
Okay, we don't need to bring that up.
Oh no.
But we don't have too much time before we go to break, so May 18th is the big fundraiser, again, at the Kin Center from 12 to 6. Be there. It's in Newcastle, the Boulevard. It's the Kin Center on the square in Newcastle. But you yourself, what would you say before we go to break and say goodbye to young, aspiring actors, or even people that want to take part backstage, or about drama, how they can help out with the high school should they be coming up to grade 9 in the fall?
Yeah, just definitely try it. Like, you never know if you're going to like it or not, and if you don't, you can say that you tried it. You can say that you gave it a try, even if you don't like it, but definitely give it a try, because you never know. You could be the thing that, like, I never thought that I would be going to a drama festival in Scotland 10 years ago, or even a year ago.
Right.
But yeah, definitely give it a try. You never know what could come out of the experience.
Perfect. Well, we wish you the best, and fundraising is going to go well now that everybody knows about it. Thank you, Chris Matheson, and thank you, Bridget Perry, and I'm so excited for you. I'm just jealous I can't go with you. All right, so we're going to say goodbye to them, and we have another wonderful guest coming up, so please tune back in very shortly for more Have a Chat.
Stay.
Hello and welcome back on this fine Monday. We're here. We're going to be like all week. You can just Google us on Have a Chat. And you can find the schedule for Rogers. It airs more than once a week, but we are live right now. And of course, I'm your co-host with Veronique today. I'm your host, Judy Loge. Veronique Arsenault is with me, and we have a first-time guest, Stephen Sunin. And he's going to bring an interesting topic to us today and lots of conversation because you are a local pilot.
Yes, I am.
All right. Now, we chatted a bit off the air, but for those who do not know you at all, share a few things about yourself personally.
Oh, let's see.
Just in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, from rural Ontario, grew up, moved here 8 years ago when my eldest grandson was born.
Nice.
Local pilot. I have a plane up at the airport, and loving the life out here.
Yes, and just real quickly, were you a part of that whole big thing with the eclipse and the drones and all of that? Were you on the scene?
I was not. I was
No.
at home with the family, the 3 grandchildren, and we watched from our backyard.
Yes, and 3 grandchildren bring so much joy to your
Oh,
life.
it was fun.
So that's just a little bit about Stephen.
Yeah, and Stephen and I are friends on social media, so I get to see all the pictures that you take
Nice.
from your plane, and I'm always fascinated by it. So tell me about your very first time that you went flying, and what inspired you to become a pilot?
Well, first time I went flying, I was actually in a helicopter over Niagara Falls.
Oh,
I
goodness.
was just a wee lad at the time too, but as I said, I was born in a rural community, and every small community had an airport.
Right.
And so I was used to seeing planes from being a wee lad. So always wanted to be up in a plane. I went up in a private plane when I was a young lad, not long after being up in the helicopter. And it's one of those bugs that just, it stays with you forever. I mean, you build model airplanes, you build Lego airplanes, you do all that stuff.
Love it.
And you hope that someday you can grab that dream, right?
Yeah.
And you did.
I did.
And you're still loving it.
I am.
Still making paper for airplanes.
No, not so much. The real thing's so much more fun.
Yeah.
So what have been some of the most exciting or unforgettable times that you've had while flying?
There are so many different things that you can describe as being exciting or unforgettable. I mean, probably the biggest excitement for any pilot is first time you solo. And you've done a couple of circuits with your instructor, you've done a number of hours with your instructor, and he says, okay, stop the plane. He opens the door, he gets out and says, I want you to do some circuits. And you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Is that a bit terrifying?
It is a little, because
I get goosebumps anyway.
the first time you're taking off and you realize the plane performs so much better with less weight in it, but everything feels a little differently. You've got nobody you can bounce your thoughts off of.
Right.
It's not, your instructor's not beside you there. You have to do everything that you were taught by the book. And so doing that first solo is a big deal.
It sure is.
Yeah.
My youngest son's always expressed an interest in maybe doing that. I don't know that he ever will, but you're never, that's a dream. And if he wants to do it, I'm sure that he could get there. He's only 25 years old.
Yeah, absolutely. And my uncle, Judy's brother-in-law, Serge, out west in Alberta, has been a pilot, the same for years and years and years. And 2 of his 3 boys are also pilots now. And it's that bug, I think, right?
There's something about it. You get up in the plane, it's like a Zen moment, right?
Yeah.
So it's peaceful.
You see river, you see mountainous areas, you see wildfires, you see all kinds of things.
What a
You see
perspective.
everything. You can see Miramichi from 50 miles out. When I come back from Grand Falls, I can see it from 50 miles out. I can see the smokestack from Arbec. So.
Oh, really?
Really, isn't
okay.
it?
Interesting. What kind of aircraft do you typically fly, and why that one?
Well, my own personal plane's a vintage Cessna 172. It's a high-winged
plane. It's probably the most common plane that people think of. All of my training was done on Cessnas, 150, 152, 152 Aerobat, 172M, 172R. Every plane has its own unique characteristics, and so you end up having to be type certified on every one of them
Really?
to demonstrate that you understand the characteristics of that particular plane. But they've all been Cessnas. I like being able to look out the window and look straight down.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know that I could do that.
I get motion problems in a helicopter really badly. I do. Small planes. Yeah.
I don't have that happen, but
Oh.
I think the straight down, I can look out. It's the straight down that might get me.
Passengers find that because they're belted in,
Yeah.
and because the doors close beside them,
Yeah.
because they can see everything going on around them, they forget about being afraid.
Okay.
And they tend to just, hey, there's my house. And
Right,
things
yes,
like that.
yeah.
And,
Okay.
and coming into land, just watching the runway as it approaches, it's different from what it's like being on a commercial plane where all
Right.
you're doing is looking out the side.
Right, yeah.
So it's a lot more confidence inspiring for people.
I'm the weirdest. When I fly, I dread the landing. And my husband said, well, what's the alternative? You know, I'll say, that was an amazing landing. He goes,
True
any landing's amazing, Judy.
True enough. Good
The
point.
thing is, you'll land it. But I'm always a wreck landing. And I know there have been some tremendous landings. I don't know, I'm sure in small planes, but on huge, like
Yes.
jets. And then some have been really awful. So I'm a little bit nervous. But how do you stay calm and focused, Stephen, when you're navigating some unforeseen circumstances in the air, some terrible weather, because you're bound to find it. So how do you deal with that?
First off, you try to avoid the terrible weather. I mean, we have so many resources available. We can check online subscription services and calling London Flight, Information Center and everything else to find out if you're on a long trip what you're going to run into. And you basically avoid it. I mean, you don't stick your finger in the socket, sort of.
Right. Yes.
But occasionally, you will run into a situation that was not predicted, and you just rely on your training. The plane, fly the plane.
Like
And-
birds, for example, that you hear about and see about all these flocks coming at you, or I couldn't be with you. I mean, you would put me out. You would say, "Get on the parachute, lady, and leave."
Don't see a lot of birds at altitude. You do see them on the ground occasionally on the runways and everything, but they will clear
I
because of the
suppose.
noise of the engine.
Right, you're too high for birds.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was cruising at 3,000 feet with a friend one day, and we actually passed a bald eagle. So
Oh my!
it
So
was
cool.
just ahead of us, just over above, and it was
So neat.
yeah. It's you do see them, but it's bird strikes in the air above 1,000 feet are pretty rare.
Okay.
But I mean, you do come across lightning and things like that. That you know, it might be a clear day, and then you're up there, and all of a sudden, the big bolt. It's like, oh my gosh, here I am.
Yeah, lightning is a hazard for thunderstorms, which are a hazard with convective activity in the summer. You can see them from miles away,
Okay.
Interesting.
and you can get the forecast. Even if they can't forecast you're going to have a thunderstorm this day, the fact that you can see it well off in the distance, and a thunderstorm is a problem up to 20 miles radius because of both the air currents and because of the lightning that can head off in any direction. So you just stay clear of them. And
Interesting.
I suppose
anytime-
that's where your training kicks in, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Of course.
Exactly,
You know,
and that's
you're
your
trained for
confidence.
those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, these movies where you see people flying through thunderstorms in a plane does not happen.
No.
There are only a handful of planes in the world that can withstand that sort of wind shear activity in a fully involved thunderstorm. So it doesn't happen,
No.
but it looks great on
Of
in
course
Hollywood.
it does.
Well, if I went up, I think I'd like to go with Stephen.
I know.
I think I'd like to have someone that experienced
He's
it.
quite calm.
Yes, I like that.
Now, coming up very quickly is Aviation Awareness Day at our Miramichi Airport.
Right.
Talk to us about that event.
Okay, so our Aviation Discovery Days, this is
That's
our
it.
third
Discovery
year.
Day.
That's okay. This is our third year for it. It's been quite successful the last couple of years. Basically, we open it up to all the pilots in the area, anyone who wants to fly in. And we've had people come in from as far as Ottawa and all the way across, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, various places. And we also open up the gates, the same entrance that everyone used for the solar eclipse
Yes.
and for the old air shows and everything. People can come in that way as foot traffic, and we have the areas cordoned off. We have planes out on display. First year we had 27 planes in. Last year wasn't quite as good because the weather conditions weren't as great. But we have some various, we have Casera, we have a few different agencies. The museum is open that day to the public. As I say, we have everything cordoned off so that people can stay, clear of the aircraft. We don't have any aircraft traffic in where people are.
Right.
FPL, we've invited them. They've brought an air tractor the last couple of years, and when people actually see one of those up close, they realize what a big plane it is. We're hoping to have a couple helicopters come in. And then, of course, we've got the RoboCop and the Iron Man and everything for the kids, and the local police. Hopefully, they'll be sending the PR officer with the SSR.
Yes, yeah.
And that's always popular with the kids too, and the adults. So we try to make it just appealing, just so that people are aware that the airport's active. Because when I moved here, 8 years ago, I was surprised how many people thought the airport was like done when the Air Force left, when in fact it's always been an active entity, and it's nice to get people up there and looking around, and we've taken them on tours of the terminal building and give them a little history about how our runway here was the backup for the shuttle and everything else. And
a lot of people are interested in that, more than you think about. I hear talk about it a lot, and now they have this to go to.
Well, and I've been the last couple of years, so it's really it's so interesting, and to see all of the planes lined up, and to get to meet the pilots, and I've been through the museum, and actually we're going to have the museum on in a couple of weeks to talk about the Aviation Museum here in Miramichi. So it's fascinating to me how active that community of pilots is here in Miramichi, and we get to see all the pictures online, and I find it really interesting.
I do too. Stephen, walk us through a typical day for you pre-flight, and what type of a routine you have to go through, and do you have any good luck things or little things that you do, rituals, I guess, that set you up for the day, for the flight?
If I'm going flying, being a private pilot and doing my own plane, I'm very familiar with it. But in any plane, the pilot handbook, the operator's handbook that comes with the plane, actually gives you a layout of things you should check. And you follow a very, very strict regimen. You start at a point. You're checking things on the plane. You're checking the tires and brakes. You're checking the hinge pins are in good shape on the doors. You're looking for things like smoking rivets. I know that sounds kind of odd, but if a rivet comes loose, because most planes are riveted together, the airstream, the slipstream, actually creates what looks like smoke behind the rivet.
Oh, okay.
And that's your first big giveaway. And my instructor was able to show me one of those way back when I learned. And little things like that, you're looking for that. You're checking the engine compartment. You're looking for birds' nests and such in the engine compartment, because it gets warm in there. You come in, you land on a cool day. Somebody might decide they want to crawl into that warm spot. So you check in there.
And you have to do it every time. Like, you can't just say, I was in it yesterday, everything's great.
Right.
Every time you dip the tanks to make sure you've got fuel gauges, but you don't trust the gauges.
Right.
So we have, wooden stick, literally a wooden stick. You drop into the tank, you pull it back out, and you look at where it is to make sure that it agrees with your instruments.
So thorough.
Oh,
You have to be.
Oh yeah, because as I tell my passengers, I want to land too.
Yes. Yes, I imagine you do.
I want to see my wife tonight.
Taking off is optional, landing is not. So I want to make sure that it's a nice,
You
safe
hear me?
flight.
I know. Oh, we don't have much
Taking off
time
is
left here.
optional.
Need to have one little last question we can touch on with Stephen.
Yeah, so just what advice would you give to somebody that's, wants to consider this?
Chase the dream. If you haven't been up, go up with somebody who has a plane. We're always happy to take people up who, they want to learn how to fly. And if you do enroll, don't drag it out. That's probably the biggest mistake that people who are just going for a private pilot's license have, is they drag it out. And as a result, what you learned the last time, you may forget some of it for the next time.
Yeah.
But if you keep it, I did mine fairly, bang, 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 and got my hours in and did my Transport Canada test. It's much easier. That stuff stays with you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because you have to have so many hours, right? Like in the air and study and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. 45 hours in the air, about 45 hours on of ground school. 40 or 45, somewhere in that neighborhood. And everything's broken down into what those hours have to be composed of too. So
What are some of your favorite local destinations that you have been, in awe of, I guess, over the time you've been piloting?
in awe, there's so many different ones. Sunsets on the Miramichi.
Oh, yes.
Fantastic. Autumn, going over the
Beautiful.
the Christmas Mountains. Beautiful up there. You do a circle over Mount Carlton and just the colors up there. In wintertime, it's a lot of fun. I love night flying, but in the
Night
wintertime, as the sun starts to set, the shadow that the bridge casts
Oh, yes.
as the sun's way down on the horizon, you wouldn't see that from the ground so much as from the air. You can see how it stretches all the way down the river.
Oh, neat.
Little things like
Sounds
that.
Beautiful. How do you train for night flying?
It's a very specific regimen. I have a night rating and an over-the-top rating, which allows me to fly over the clouds. And it's just a number of hours with an instructor again, and you have to make some cross-country flights, and you have to do a number of circuits in the dark. And the plane has lighting, and the runway has lighting, so you can't land at a runway that doesn't have lighting. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
But I have great new LED landing lights and taxi lights on the plane, so as I get to about 50 feet off the runway, it really brightens things up. And
Very cool.
It's a lot of fun. Night flying is probably the nicest.
And you're not getting tired of this. I can tell how enthusiastic you are. You're not giving up this anytime soon.
No, seriously, it is a zen moment. You get up there, the hum of the engine, and it's just nice and quiet, and all you see the mountains in the distance. You see the ocean in the distance. It's
a real thrill, isn't
it.
it? Would you? So you take passengers up?
I do.
How frequently would people say, "Can I go on a little trip with you, Stephen?" And then how far would you take them for a ride?
A lot of people ask. Unfortunately, a lot more than I can accommodate a lot of the time. And usually I find 40 minutes to an hour is, if you're not used to flying in a light plane, that's adequate.
Yeah.
Beyond an hour, and people, if they're at the least bit prone to motion sickness, it's that point where it might start to be a problem.
Okay.
And because if I'm taking passengers, I never get more than, say, 15 minutes away from the airport, which at 100 miles an hour is still a good distance.
Yeah.
But I'm still, if they're starting to feel queasy, I can turn around and come back in a hurry.
That would be me, but we're not going to let that happen. Maybe Vera will go. But thank you for your time, for your enthusiasm. It's been really interesting for me, and I'm sure for our viewers. So to Stephen Sunin, wonderful guest, we'll say goodbye, and Veronique and I will see you next week. Thanks, everybody.